Okay, people, we're back, and Tucker's getting ready to go into his fifth point new political party that doesn't have a name, Manifesto. The first one was fairness, then came sovereignty, then came productive, and then we went through beautiful. This new fifth manifesto is healthy. Americans should be healthy. Now, before he breaks down what he wants his political party's manifesto to be, let's define what it means to be healthy. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not just the absence of disease or sickness. It means your body and mind work well together, allowing you to live an active, comfortable, and full life. Physical health, how well your body moves, heals, and functions. Mental health, how you think, feel, and cope with daily stress. Social health, how you connect and get along with other people. Now, I'm going to think I don't like this definition because it's missing a very important point. I think spiritual health. Okay, the Bible has a word. People call it prosperity, but the word prosperity really means the word wholeness. And that word wholeness means mind, body, soul, circumstances. Okay, so what's missing here is the health of the soul. Now, healthiness also is just not physical. You said it's emotional, it's mental. So that affects mind, body, soul, but it also affects your circumstances. So we have to put the spirituality in the health of the individual. And I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about a Christian nationalism. I'm talking about whatever your belief is, whatever you believe. It should bring you peace. It should bring you joy. It should bring you self-comfort. It should bring you reflection. And you should be able to act on that. That should make you healthy. Now, let's be honest about it. What do I think? I think the only remedy for health and wholeness, in my personal opinion, is Jesus Christ. Let's see what Tucker says about it. Tucker? Go on, please. Thank you for everything you've done so far, Tucker.
America needs to be, and it's worth saying so out loud, is healthy. And that means that we're physically healthy, but also spiritually healthy, clear-eyed and bright. It's not shameful to want that. There was a time when health was taken for granted as a goal, when being physically robust and mentally alert were kind of expected. And of course, not everyone met those standards, very much including me. But those were the standards. But at a certain point, as part of the general decay and perversion of the society, health became redefined into something that doesn't resemble health. And the goals changed. So it's important to restate them. What does health mean? It means being physically robust, capable to the extent you can be, active, and it means being clear-minded. It means being sober, actually. And we're very far from both of those things because nobody seems to have the courage to just say it out loud. What is health? Well, health is sobriety, actually, and physical vigor. So you can start, and Bobby Kennedy, to his great credit, has articulated this well with better food. Shouldn't be eating poison. You should know what's in the food. The government does have a role in regulating food, of course.
You look crazy, though.
Has since 1912, but hasn't done a very good job in recent decades. We could fix that easily. And of course, all kinds of manufacturers of poison food fight against that, but why do we have to listen to them? And we should call that out again and again and again and again.
And I agree. You know what I've been looking at, people? I've been really investigating this healthy thing lately because I need to be healthy, and I'm working on it, Tucker. And so I'm not offended by what you're saying. But the point is, if you take a box of cereal in America and you read the ingredients, and you have somebody mail you the same brand of cereal from Europe, or a bottle of soda for that matter, you're going to find that the ingredients on both boxes are different. You're going to find that the ingredients in the soda or the cereal or the flour from Europe is a lot healthier with less produced or manufactured ingredients and more natural ingredients. So the question becomes, why the hell, in the most powerful country in the world, people are allowing me to buy products with dyes that cause cancer and other things that are killing people, but when in other countries it's being allowed. And that's been something that is happening for decades, and that's the failure of all of our administrations in the past, Tucker. So I agree. We have to become more healthy. We have to watch what we eat. We got to stay away from GMOs. We have to know exactly. We got to be able to start reading the label, people.
But it's too limited to say that's what health is. Health is much more than that. Health conveys a joy of living, happiness to be here. And again, above all, a clarity.
Well, again, he's talking about a joy for life. I'm talking about wholeness, biblical wholeness, mind, body, soul, and circumstances. Okay? So when we are walking in that level of wholeness, there's an enjoyment of life no matter what comes your way. There is a confidence of life that whatever happens, you'll get through. And even when hard times comes, you're still picking apart and striving for that level of wholeness. And that's a level of spirituality that must be included in Maha, make America healthy again. How about Masa, make America spiritual again?
Like you're happy to be here because you know what's going on. And there is enormous societal pressure not to note that. And to give in to the assumption that, well, there are some things that are just really tough, so tough that you need to be addled in some way by a pharma product. Weed, you seem to unrelax with weed or alcohol or whatever, but not just that. In fact, those are hardly the most insidious because they're the most obvious. Drunk people are easy to spot, weed smells. Benzodiazepines are totally hidden, and the effects aren't obvious either. And they're prescribed up and down for everything. Flying on airplanes, going to meetings. So are amphetamines, taking tests. There's almost no natural human activity in the United States that doesn't seem to require a pharma product, whether it's having sex or going to sleep, the most basic functions of all.
Well, I'm going to say something about that, Tucker. I don't know if you're taking any medication. I don't know your medical background. You could be saying that, and you got a bottle full of pills in your medicine cabinet in your bathroom. But I believe that if people have a medical condition and a health practitioner who has their best interest at heart prescribe medication, and the research and risk rewards are done about that medication, then there's nothing wrong with taking medication. If there's a natural remedy for something, then fine. But if it isn't, if there's a medical remedy for it and the doctor spends time with you, and this is where we have to have doctors and physicians and even pharmacists that we know, like we know our family, because they are just that important, that have our best interests at heart, that will sit down and go over risk rewards and over what I need and over what I'm going through. And that's a failure of healthcare because, simply put, the doctors can't give us that much time, Tucker. But I do not agree if you're saying that we should rule out medicine. There is medical conditions for anxiety. There's medical conditions for depression. These are chemical imbalances here. It's not as if people are making this stuff up. People have issues, and we need to support them with those issues. Okay? Maybe you're just too rich to understand that.
All require pharma products. And of course, the result is that the overwhelming majority of Americans are on something. Is that a net win? Well, of course not. That's measurable through life expectancy, hospital stays, the rest, the cost of healthcare, all the normal ways to measure it, but it's also measurable in the way that you interact with other people. If someone is using SSRIs, benzodiazepines, Valium, Xanax, amphetamines, Adderall, is that person fully him or herself? Is it really that person? Well, no.
I disagree. How dare you? You're speaking from your perch when 10 years ago, Tucker, in the past, you yourself was a drunk and a smoker. And you were massively overweight. Now, you may have pulled yourself together, but I'm sure you didn't all of a sudden not use medication if you needed it. And if God forbid your wife or son was sick today you would take them to a doctor, and if medication was prescribed, you would want them to take it for their well-being. Does that change who your wife is? Does that change who your son is? No. Everything must be done with wisdom and moderation, using the doctors. But how dare you criticize someone on medication? You used to be an alcoholic. Get off your perch.
Obviously, any more than someone who's had 10 shots of vodka is the same person you saw this morning at breakfast.
Well, that used to be
person.
you. That used to be you, Tucker.
So if you have a whole society that's under the influence, if everybody's on something, what do you have? Well, it's not kind of the country you had before, and it's a less human country. Because the truth is, some things are unpleasant, and we are meant to endure them in order to learn something and grow and become better and hopefully survive. And
really?
But suffering is part of it.
Suffering is part of it to some degree. But all things come from God. He created all things, and by him all things were made. So if there's a medicine that was made that can make my life more healthy, don't you think I should take it, Tucker? Or are you saying that I should just say, no, I'll refuse the medicine because it's just part of my life to make America great again? I should just be going through this suffering. Then you're going to tell me I'm not beautiful. And let me tell you something else about making America healthy again. And let's get there. How do you do that is the question.
Part of it, and no one wants to say that, but it is a fact. And so, because people aren't willing to say that, sobriety is no longer the goal, and it should be. It's not esoteric. It's not weird. It's not like some eccentric.
You know, Tucker, why don't you explain to us a little bit your testimony in terms of your smoking and your drinking addiction and how you decided against that and the steps you took and the life you led to help you break free. Why don't you try to encourage people with that instead of talking down to them like you've never had an addictive personality yourself? I think that's a little hypocritical, Tuck.
Desire to be sober. Everyone should be sober all the time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, you wasn't.
Wrong is
you wasn't sober all the time.
What we have now, where everyone's half-addled, and you talk to your boss at work, this has happened to me, and you see that kind of vacant shark-like stare that suggests like no real human emotion. What's that? It's called Xanax. It's also physically addictive, and you can die going off it. But doctors are prescribing that for years, really? Same with Adderall. It makes you crazy. Gives you mental illness if you use it long enough, but people do. Why is that okay? And why the social sanction for saying so out loud? Again, you can impute your own motive. There's clearly something going on here. We can't even guess as to what it is. It almost looks like an intentional effort to wreck a population, but the point is we're participating in it. And we shouldn't. It doesn't make you weird, some chia seed eating health nut.
There's nothing wrong with natural products. And there's a lot of good natural products out there that we can use as a substitute for medication. And there are a lot of natural products that were created that will bring healing. And I think we should all pursue those in lieu or in place of medication. But where there is no medication, Tucker, what do you want me to do? Just die?
To not take drugs, including drugs that are prescribed for serious illness. Like maybe all of those aren't necessary. I don't know. Let's have the conversation.
You don't know, and you're criticizing people about it. You see? That's the hypocritical part, Tucker Carlson. If you don't understand that people need insulin or they're going to die, don't tell people not to take insulin. Do your research. Are there natural remedies that can help with diabetes? Yes. But does that mean that everybody's body chemistry will be able to accept and absorb those remedies? No. Will it mean that some people will need insulin and have prescribed insulin? Yes. Do you criticize people for that? No.
It's not good. And so how do you fix it? Again, by saying, once again, it's not good. Health is the goal. And the closer you are to natural design, the closer you are to health.
Well, let me say this about health. I think that's a good thing. We all should be healthy again. But you know what will make people healthy? Do you know, Tucker Carlson, the countries that you laud and say are clean and healthy and good and beautiful and productive these days? Most of those countries have free health care as a human right. In America, for some reason, guys like you and Fox News and Trump and some of our congressmen and senators have been fighting for decades the movement by the Progressive Party to get free health care as a human right. And what's wrong with free health care? Why do I have to be labeled a communist or a socialist if I want to provide free health care as a human right to every American? You said we can't afford it. I say if we would undo the big, beautiful bills, we will find a way. If the rich people and the Zuckerbergs and the Musk would get off of their back when they're not even paying taxes, we will be able to afford free health care as a human right. We will be able to fix Social Security. So when you're thinking about health, Tucker, let's have the discussion of what is wrong with America having free health care as a human right of fairness.
You weren't made for this stuff. And just because someone tells you got this new life-enhancing thing doesn't mean it's actually life-enhancing. It may be new, but it definitely doesn't mean it's better. And so as you think about this and assess it, I mean, it's all obvious stuff, but you begin to realize that we've been manipulated as citizens, but mostly as consumers.
Yeah, we've been manipulated by the congressmen and senators that we send who have been bought out by the pharmaceutical companies and the FDA that fast-track medications that come back years later and people have side effects and disease and cancer because the drugs were fast-tracked by the administration, by the congressmen, by the people we send up to make us healthy and safe. That's what's happened. And the pharmaceutical companies got a lot of people addicted on medication, Tucker. The pharmaceutical companies are charging us in America. You talk about fairness and you talk about being productive. You talk about sovereign and being out of debt. Well, when I've got to decide how much money insulin is going to cost me versus paying my bills, what do you think I'm going to do? So again, I go back to what you're talking about. The Progressive Party has been championing free health care as a human right. Americans, what is wrong with free health care? And why can't we do it?
And if you wake up and your main role in a society is as a consumer, it's a problem because you're diminished by nature. Citizens have rights. You treat them with respect. Consumers are pawns to be manipulated. And so it's important to note that we have been manipulated and that health is the goal. A healthy society is a goal. You go to an airport or Walmart and lots of people are fat and tattooed and kind of depressed looking. And you think, well, which came first? Are you fat and tattooed because you're depressed? Or are you depressed because you're fat and tattooed? It's possible it's the latter.
Maybe I'm also depressed because I can't afford health care, Tucker. Maybe I'm also depressed because I can't afford my medication. Maybe I'm also depressed because I can't afford even the prices in Walmart. Maybe I'm depressed, Tucker, because I can't put my kid to school. Maybe I'm depressed, Tucker, because my life financially is falling apart and I'm in foreclosure because Donald Trump has destroyed me. Maybe I'm depressed for a lot of different reasons. Now, does that impact my health? Does it impact my stress? Could it make me fat? Maybe. But let's look at the root cause of it. It all goes back to your issue of fairness. You want to make me productive? Treat me fair. You want to make me healthy? Make me fair. You want to make me beautification? Make me fair. Let's make the rich people get up off of their coin that they're not even paying. God, Zuckerberg, these guys are not paying taxes. If you trickle some of that down, maybe you'll see me in a Walmart and I'll be skinny and I'll get my tattoos removed because I've had free health care as a human right. What do you think about that, people?
Living with self-respect improves you and everyone around you.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
And no one loves us enough to say that.
No, you got to love people enough to say why You got to give me an answer. You just can't tell me that, Tucker. Again, it goes back to the level of fairness. It all starts at the starting point. Bring me up, Tucker, and I'll get healthy. You keep me down. You keep me economically disparaged. You keep me socially isolated. You keep me educationally deficient. And I am going to be down.
You're wearing your pajamas with face tattoos at Walmart, and that's okay, but it's not okay. And you know it's not okay. And no one thinks that's actually okay. And anyone telling you it is okay doesn't love you. In fact, probably just the opposite. Cozy Earth! The thing you'd like America to be is honest.
Okay, people, we're going to stop right here, and we're going to give a break. I want you to absorb what number 5 was with healthy. What do you think about Tucker's thoughts on being healthy? I have to say it again. And a lot of people don't want to talk about what the Progressive Party has tried to do, what Bernie Sanders tried to do every time he ran. And he still talks about it. Free health care as a human right. Now, let me tell you something. And as many people talk about this, why don't you Google all the countries in the world that have free health care as a human right? You'll be astonished. Why can't we do that in the most powerful country in the world? Why can't we make healthcare fair for the most powerful country in the world? Because there's a population of people that want to keep a population of Americans unhealthy. Because they make money off us being unhealthy. And that's not a conspiracy theory, that's fact. And until someone says you're right about free health care as a human right, we will not break the strangulation hold that the pharmaceutical companies have on us. We will not be able to fix the mental and emotional issues that people go through but just can't afford to deal with it. Tucker, you have to be fair. And I think some of your views are not fair. And I think that some of your views ignore the part, as you try to create this third party, you're not giving any credence to the party that's been championing some of these things from its existence. And that is the Progressive Party. Maybe, again, a lot more of us should move out of the Democrat or Republican column. And maybe some of us now need to start thinking progressive. What do you guys think? Catch you up on number 6.